What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Gladiator and Deathbird. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Deathbird and Gladiator. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, we can get a good look at the figures in here. So you've got Gladiator, there's Deathbird. You only get an extra set of hands and an extra head for Gladiator, which is a little frustrating, a little disappointing. But we do get Deathbird, and that's a new character, and one that myself and I think a lot of other people have wanted for some time. So, little mixed bag initially, but hey, Deathbird, right? X-Men logo there, X-Men logo there. Flip it to the side, Deathbird and Gladiator on your side. Flip it to this side, you get Legends logo, Gladiator and Deathbird there and there. Flip it to the back, we get a good look at Gladiator, a good look at Deathbird, some important information at the bottom. There's your blurb. Gladiator heads the legions of Imperial Guard in steadfast service to the Majestrix, a title sought by Deathbird, who frequently plots to overthrow her sister Lalanja Naramani as ruler of the spacefaring Shi'ar Empire. Flip it back to the front for one last look, but let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the box, we can get a good look at Gladiator and Deathbird here. Solid 2-pack look. I really have no issue with getting another Gladiator. I know a lot of people do, and that is absolutely reasonable. We hate to see these hostage 2-packs, figures that we're waiting for locked in with figures we already have, but hear me out. Now, I have one Gladiator already on display in the Cosmic Shelf, you know, building towards some sort of Shi'ar display once we continue to get more characters, but that's there. Now I have another Gladiator. I can start to build out that Annihilators team, right? And that for me is the win. Let's take a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at Gladiator here. Face sculpt looks really good on this first one. So you got the mohawk going, some color in there too. You get a little bit of blue to go in on top, just to give it a little bit more depth and life to it, and some good shading in the crevices of the face as well. So adding a little depth, right? I appreciate that. You do get some decent design throughout. You're on a fairly basic articulation scheme, but you do get the pinless upgrades all around. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Plastic cape, not a whole lot going on with it as far as any shading or dry brushing to that effect, but you do just get a solid Gladiator cape. The belt is painted on. I'm on the fence about how I feel about it. Sometimes it works out really well. Others, I would actually prefer the belt to be there. I do think it goes a long way in hiding the hip swivel if you'd like to. When it's painted on, you don't get that choice, and it just sticks out. Here's a look at your alternate head, and for my money, that's where I'm going in the display. Absolutely have to use this one for the display. You get these effects in the eyes, which, by the way, when I was swapping the head, one did pop out, so they are removable. If you're wondering, they are. They will just pop right back in. I imagine they probably should be glued in there, and the glue might have just been a little light over here, but again, it went right back in. I can add a little glue and it won't go anywhere, but it does give you a little bit of choice if you have some ideas for customizations. For your articulation, we'll go with the cape on because that's how most people will have it displayed, and that'll show you a little bit more of the limitations, but the head will look down to there. Chin does touch the chest. Head will look up and back to there. So even with the cape, you do still get some range backwards, so I like that. Plenty of movement around, a little bit of rock in there. So all in all, pretty good. Arms do work all the way around. You are not on any sort of butterfly, you can see there. And they do go up only to about there, and that's not with the cape hindering you at all, just the shoulder being super bulky. You can kind of see there, and look, you've already got a little chewing, but you can kind of see there the way you get the ball from the shoulder into the actual muscle of the shoulder. There is a pretty noticeable drop off, and again, that does give you a little bit of wear and chewing almost immediately. You do have an upper bicep cut. You are double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm, hinge at the wrist. Ab crunch, hip swivel. Legs will kick up to about there. Back to about there. And then out to right about there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee. Boot cut, hinge and swivel at the ankle. For your hands, you do get an open set of hands, which gives you a sort of grasping hand and then a wide open hand. You also get your set of fists. So you have good options for Gladiator. Open and fists, I'm cool with that. Moving over to Deathbird. Now this is what I think a lot of us are waiting for. Absolutely a hole in the collection, and she's here now. Looks good. She's got this great metallic purple that really gives her some shine. You can see all through the cape too, up into the mask, like that. Really excellent expression here. Very maniacal looking, just this mad laughter. I love it, but we only get this as our choice. That's fine for me. I think that will display well, but this is the new character, right? This is where I would want to see the extra heads if we have to be limited. I hate that we do, but if we have to be, I'd much rather see the options come with the new character as opposed to the character that we already have. You also get one set of hands here, but I will give you this. They did paint the nails on these hands, which give that a little something extra. Not something you would normally see, so I like that little extra addition there. Really good design throughout the torso, the boots. Aesthetically, this looks great. For your articulation, the head will look down to their chin, not quite touching the upper chest, but does hit the lower neck. Head will look up to there, so you get some good upward range. I like that. Lots of rock in there and all the way around. Arms will go up to about there. So you are going to be stopped by two things. The cape, because it is that hard plastic, and this wiring here. Now, you could absolutely make it go all the way around, remove the wiring, do what you want to do, but that's where I'm going to stop, because any more than that, and I think we're getting into risky territory. Arms do go back, though, to there. That's where the cape stops you. But without it, you would be able to get a little bit more backwards range. You will go up to about there. Cape, again, getting in the way, and the wire holding you back just a little. Upper bicep cut. You are double jointed, pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm. Hinge at the wrist. For your torso, all you have is that diaphragm in there. So you do get the bell in there, which gives you plenty of rotation and movement around, but you'd get nothing at the lower abdomen there. Legs will kick up to there, so a pretty good high kick. You're going back only to about there and then out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee. Nothing at your boot, hinge and swivel at the ankle. For comparison, here he is backed up against the Apocalypse Wave Gladiator figure, so you can see some similarities in the overall aesthetic. They are roughly the same size. However, the new Gladiator does have a slight height advantage. New Gladiator also all pinless. And just for a quick look at head swaps, now the head swaps will definitely work size wise, perfect fit there. Purples are going to be the difference, right? Deeper purple on the Apocalypse Wave one. However, the cape does block a lot of that, and you don't see it too much from the front unless you're looking underneath. So I do feel like you could certainly pull that off with minimal effort, right? So if that's something you're interested in, that is on the table. Conversely, here is a look at the older head sculpt on the new body. The purples don't really clash as much as you might think. They certainly don't match, but it could absolutely be worse. For comparison, here she is backed up against our Lalandra. So now, look, it's starting to come together. We're getting more and more in a fairly good succession, right? So I'm not hating the timeline here. I do like that we have them. They look great together. And we have our Warlord Professor X. Look, I mean, you can feel the tension here, right? So, hey, look, I like that we're getting these, so let's keep them coming. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Deathbird and Gladiator 2-pack. Fine figures, one a good upgrade, one a needed character for the display. The problem being it's a 2-pack, right? Look, we all know we don't want this as a 2-pack, but hey, they got to make these 2-packs. They're doing it. That's the deal. We get these. Some of us have solutions for that. Others, you'll probably have to sell the figure or buy the one that you actually want loose. I get it. It's frustrating. For me, I have a home for this Gladiator. I've actually been looking forward to getting another Gladiator, so I'm in a small percentage of people who like the combination of the 2-pack here. I get that, but that's fine. It is a nice 2-pack. This Deathbird is a solid addition to the collection. Gladiator, a decent upgrade. I would have loved to have seen an extra head with Deathbird, probably extra hands as well. I know we always say, oh, you got so many hands, but specific to this character, I think an extra set of hands and an extra head would have gone a long way. Gladiator is good. He's got the 2 heads. He's got the 2 sets of hands. I think that's perfect. And both of those head sculpts look great, so no problems there. Overall, it is a good 2-pack. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's good. So I am I'm pretty okay with it. All right, that's it, folks. I'm pretty okay with it. Anyway, that's the 2 cents, folks. I do appreciate you checking out the video. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.